Besides being a beautiful plant for a cottage garden, Red Campion is also a really important resource for pollinators like bumblebees and butterflies. It can grow to around 60 to 90 centimeters and it spreads to around 60 centimeters. To grow Red Campion, you need a spot in your garden with moist, well-draining soil with plenty of sunlight. The good news is that once this is established, it's really a low-maintenance plant, and it's really great for busy gardeners because it's so low maintenance. Red Campion is a short-lived perennial, and it will certainly self-seed around your garden. So if you don't want it to self-seed and spread around yours, all you have to do is deadhead the flowers when they finish flowering before they turn into that seed. And if you're a gardener like us and you struggle with snails and slugs in your garden, there's some good news. A Red Campion is generally quite resistant to slugs and snails, and it's probably because of the hairy stem, this sort of a hairy stalk that the Red Campion has. Here in our garden, we grow lots of Red Campion from seed, and we do that in the winter with winter sowing. And that's what we would like to show you now.
So my Dagpragtstjerne has finished flowering, and over here are all the seed pods here. So I'll just take one down here, and they really open up here in the top, and then I'm just gonna sprinkle them out here, and then you have a bunch of new Dagpragtstjerne. Even go ahead and take some more and just sprinkle them here. It's really quite a big seed here, so they are very easily to collect here. And then I have my coffee filters, and notice I collect them when they're all totally, the seed pods here are totally dry and all brown, very crispy. So I collect them here and keep them in a coffee filter with a name on until I'm ready to sow them.
So for this, we're using regular potting soil because it's the cheapest. We did add water beforehand. That'll help our seeds not get lost and tossed around in the tray.
Oh, and if you want to see a great video on how to winter sow, click the link here.
Good job, Lars.
So I'm sowing my Dagpragtstjerne here. I'll take them in my hand. They're not so big, the seeds here. There we go. And I'll just sprinkle them over the soil here as this. There we go. And I'll add a handful of dirt here, just like this, and spread it out really gently without pressing too much down. And then I'll add a name tag, and I'll place it out in the greenhouse, and then I'll make sure over here in winter and beginning of before spring comes, I'll keep it wet on the top. Every 2 weeks I'll use my spray here and spray some water on if it needs, so it doesn't get dry. They will start to germinate once it gets warmer here in spring, and then I can plant them right out in the garden when they're bigger.
Now it's time to place these in the glass house. They're going to need sunlight, and they're going to need to be watered once every 2 weeks with a little sprayer. Just keep an eye on them. Once these seedlings start to sprout, they'll be ready to plant out directly in the garden come springtime.
So it has been 3 months, and the Dagpragtstjerne, when it had the second set of leaves, I have replanted it so it had a bit more space. Once it shows roots in the bottom here, I'll plant it out in the garden. If you don't have the time or the space to repot, you could also take it from the tray and plant it right out in the garden.
Let us know if you grow this plant in your garden and what style you have it in. Are you more the woodland garden, the wildflower, the cottage, or do you grow it in a pot in your urban garden? Until then, thanks so much for watching.